Stampers, welcome to fancyforstampin.com. I'm Josie-Cauler. Today we're going to make this Christmas card using the Curvy Christmas stamp set and the Curvy Dies. Isn't that cute? Okay, and it's a really easy card to do. Let's go through the list of supplies that we're going to need. First, we're going to need a piece of pool party cardstock that measures 4 1/4 by 11. And I used this design from the Snowflake Splendor DSP. We need a piece that measures 4 by 5 1/4. We also need a 1 1/4 by 8 1/2 piece of scrap Whisper white cardstock and some other smaller pieces of scrap Whisper white cardstock. The Curvy Christmas stamp set and the Curvy Dies are used. I also used a few stamps from Snow Wonder because I just love this stamp set. And I used a couple stamps from the Snowflake Wishes stamp set. And this is not required to make the card. I think the card would be just as nice without them. And the so many snowflakes dies. And I forgot to mention, I did use the die that goes with the Snow Wonder, the Snow Time dies. Okay? And the Winter Snow embossing folder. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is we need to fold our piece of 8 1/2, or I'm sorry, 4 1/4 by 11 pool party cardstock in half, and when I cut it I pre-scored a line there. And then we're going to use the Curvy die. This is the one that I used. Okay, so now you're going to have to be careful when you put this down on the cardstock. I want the side without the holes on the bottom, so it looks like hills, like that. So you're going to turn it so this cutting edge, this raised cutting edge, is facing toward the bottom of the card. And when I put it on the card, I set this edge at the 2 1/8 inch mark. Okay, so that's 2 1/8 inches from the bottom. I just set the edge right there, and then I held it in place with a sticky note. So I'm going to do that. Okay, and then I'm going to open up the die, open up the card base, Okay, and bring over my Big Shot. It's been very well loved and used. And I'm going to put that down there and cut. Okay, let's get this out of the way. Okay, now you see the holes are at the top. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to cut this piece off of the card along this score line. So let me put my die away so it doesn't get lost. And I'll bring over my paper trimmer. And I've got the bottom piece. See, when this is gone, it's going to look like this. Got this bottom piece folded back over the back of the card, and I'll just put that up at the top there and run my cutting blade up, and we've got a perfect cut. Okay, you get rid of this piece. Don't throw this away. You can use it on something else, or you can just save it for scraps. Okay, so after we have this top piece cut out, we need to run this bottom portion through the winter snow embossing folder. And so I just opened it up and put that in there like that, and brought over my embossing tool. I still have the Big Shot. I haven't purchased the new Stampin' Up machine yet, but I will. And I ran this through the Big Shot. Get rid of all of this. And there, that front flap is embossed. Okay, next thing we're going to do is attach our piece of Snowflake Splendor DSP to the inside. And you're going to use the adhesive, your adhesive of choice. I'm still using Stampin' Up Snail adhesive because I stocked up a while ago. I mean really stocked up, and I have quite a bit left, and before I buy anything new I'm going to finish using what I have. Okay, so there, that's done down on the inside, so it looks like that. Okay, now we need to stamp the trees in Pear Pizzazz, and I'm going to use this cut edge as my guide for placing the stamp. Where is the stamp? Here it is. Okay. So let me ink this up with Pear Pizzazz ink. And I'll wipe the edges of my block so I don't end up smearing it anywhere. And we'll hold that down and stamp. Now I'm using the silicone mat because I forgot to dig out my foam mat. Silicone mat works just as well when you're using these photopolymer stamps. And there we have it. Okay, move this out of the way. Next thing we want to stamp is Merry Christmas in black in the bottom right hand corner of the inside of the card, just like we did here. And I'll see if I can get it in on there straight. Just like that. And that's perfect. And we'll get this out of the way. Okay, and then I said I used a couple stamps from the Snowflake Wishes stamp set up in this area, and I stamped those in Pool Party. Now, if you don't do it, it'll be fine. If you don't have that stamp set, it'll be fine. It'll look fine without. You can just put some rhinestones up there. You know, you don't have to have the snowflakes in there, but since I did it on my original, I'm going to do it on this one. And I stamped this in Pool Party. Just like that. Okay, and while I've got this out, I'm going to take this other little stamp, snowflake stamp, from this set, from the, I keep saying it, the Snowflake Wishes stamp set, and I'm going to stamp this little one in Pool Party and cut it out with dies. Okay, so we're done with those. We can get those out of the way. While we're stamping and we need to cut, we're going to stamp these trees from the Snow Wonder stamp set in Pear Pizzazz again. And we'll cut those out with the die. Okay, that's stamped. I'll set that aside. Okay, now I'm going to show you how I made this tag with the Curvy die. Okay, it took me a few tries to figure it out, but I managed to get it because, by golly, I'm a smart girl when I want to be. At any rate, the dots are above the smooth cut edge. So I flipped it around this time. I want the cutting edge, the smooth cutting edge, oh, you can't see the die, this raised cutting edge to be at the top of my strip of Whisper White cardstock. Just like that. And we'll hold it in place with a sticky note. And then we'll go over to the Big Shot and cut it out. And I'm not going to bring the Big Shot over here. You'll be able to hear me while I'm running it through. So there we go. It ran through once. And we cut it out. And we have, need my scissors, the paper snips, to cut this off. Right there and right there for now. Okay, that's what we have. Okay, so then we're going to flip the die around so the smooth cutting edge is at the bottom. And we'll move it over a little. And we'll hold it down again. Oops. Okay, and we'll run that through the Big Shot. Okay, and this is what we have. So then I'm going to take my paper snips and cut this end off right here. I'll probably cut this right there too. Okay, next thing we need to do is stamp our sentiment in there. And the sentiment is thinking of you at Christmas. Where is my, here it is. Okay, and I did that in the Memento Black. We're going to stamp right in between those dots. Just like that. Oh, and I can see that it's off center. Not much. It'll be good. And my camera's in the way, so I can't get right over the top of my stamping. Okay, so there, I'm bannering the ends. And there we have our tag. Okay? I didn't take my time on this, so it's a little uneven, but you can see that this one turned out a whole lot better. You don't know how many pieces of white cardstock I wasted trying to get this to cut out right. Okay, and then I'm going to go over to the Big Shot and cut out my trees and my snowflake, and I'll be right back. Okay, while I was cutting out my tree and my snowflake, I went ahead and recut the banner, made it a little bit more even, and I restamped it. Okay, so now all that's left for us to do is to attach these things. So I used dimensionals for pretty much everything. I put 2 on the back of the trees. Well, maybe 3 would be better. And I put them right here. They go up over the cut edge a little, not much. I put dimensionals behind the banner, the curved banner, and I tucked it under the trees a little. Like so. And this small snowflake, like I said, you either put it on there or not. It's not, doesn't really matter. I used a mini dimensional behind it and put it right there. And then I added some rhinestones. I put a big one right about here and a smaller one in the middle there and a medium-sized one right about there. And that's it. Isn't that cute? It's a cute little Christmas card. You can sign it right there. And it was easy. Very easy. Very simple. Unfortunately for me, though, sometimes doing something very simple has a large learning curve. It takes me a while. And a big mess to get things done. So, I hope you enjoyed your visit here today. If you have any questions, please let me know. Until next time, have a good Thanksgiving and happy stamping.